Oh, let's go. I had to move all the kisses out of the way so I wasn't just stepping on stuff the whole time I was up here. But anyway, it's good to see y'all. I miss y'all, even though it's been just a week since I've seen y'all. I'm excited for today. We're starting a brand new series called Red Letters, and it's about some of the biggest things that Jesus said. And if you didn't know it, if you look in your Bible, in one of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, in most Bibles, anything that Jesus says is highlighted in red letters. And so that's why this is called that. And so we're super excited for today. And what we're talking about today is really close to my heart because I felt this a lot, and so hopefully it's something that resonated with y'all. But when I was in college, my first semester of college, I was 18 years old, and I did a semester abroad in London, and it was incredible. I loved it. It was so much fun. Enjoyed every second of it. But something I noticed really quick was a lot of the people I was over there with didn't hold a lot of the same values that I did. And that's because I was born in the Southeast. I was born in Tennessee. It's where I'm from. Grew up in Tennessee till about high school. Then I moved here to Myrtle Beach. Lived in Myrtle Beach till graduated college, or not college, graduated high school, and then went to college. And I went to college at a school in Boston called Northeastern University. Most of y'all probably never heard of it. Go Huskies. Awesome school. We're known for our hockey. Super fun. And my first semester, I was sent abroad, which is awesome. But like I said, because the school I went to was in the Northeast and was in Boston, a lot of the people that went to my school were either from Massachusetts, California was the second school represented, or New Jersey. So these are states that don't have the same kind of Bible Belt values and things that we do. And so for me, going there, I was what felt like the only Christian out of probably about 200 to 250 people. At least that's what it felt like. And so I quickly started to become known as like the Christian guy. Because on Sundays, everybody would be like, yo, where's Campbell? And I'd be at church. And nobody else is going to church, so they're like, yo, where's Campbell? Like, don't know where he's at. And while that was cool at first, because I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I'm like in the mission field. I'm like setting an example for my friends. Quickly for me, it just became a label. And quickly for me, it went from I was following Jesus, doing my daily office every day, talking to my friends about Jesus, excited to go to church, serving, to where it was just kind of a label for me. And it was just like, Campbell's the Christian, and I kind of just took that in. And instead of actually following Jesus, it was just kind of what people call me, almost like me being from the South or Tennessee or something like that. And so that semester was hard because I slowly started to do things that my friends were doing, slowly started to not be as locked in with God as I wanted to be. And slowly I started to realize I was drifting away. And I think we've all been there at times where following Jesus for us, going to church for us, being involved with being a follower of Jesus can just become a label. It can just become kind of who we say we are, like we say where we're from, what school we go to, what we want to study in college, what sport we play. And if we're not careful, it can easily become that, and I know it did for me. And so thankfully, Jesus kind of talked a little bit about how we can prevent following Jesus just becoming a label to us. And so we're going to be in one of the Gospels today, which the Gospel is just a fancy word for the good news. And the Gospels in the Bible are made out of 4 books. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the reason these books are called the good news is because they're all about the life of Jesus, which is the good news. And so we're in the book of Matthew today. But the book of Luke, not Matthew. So we're in the book of Luke today. And before this part that we're about to read together in the book of Luke, what had been happening is Jesus had just been kind of doing miracles. He'd been doing miracles all over in the place, turning water into wine, healing people, all this awesome stuff. And then he would teach a little bit. And that's kind of all Jesus had been doing for the last year or so, close to 2 years. But here in this moment, Jesus quickly switches from just doing miracles and teaching about things to talking about what's to come. And specifically right before this, one of Jesus' best friends was a guy named Peter. Everybody say Peter. And so Peter was one of Jesus' best friends. And right before this, he said that he believed that Jesus was the Messiah. Everybody say Messiah. So for us, that word doesn't really mean much, right? We don't really know what that means. But to the Jewish people, this would have been everything. To them, the Messiah was the person who was going to come save them from Rome, save them from all these bigger countries, save them from these empires, and help them be this dominant country that they thought they were going to become. And so for Peter to say that Jesus is this Messiah is a really, really big deal. But what's interesting is right after Peter calls Jesus the Messiah, Jesus starts to talk about how he's going to go on to suffer, and he's going to die, and all these things. And to Peter, that's the opposite of what he thinks is going to happen to the Messiah. And so if I'm Peter, I'm like, dude, I just called you the Savior, and you said you're going to die? Like, why would you let me embarrass myself in front of all these people like that? But thankfully, Luke documents a little bit about what Jesus says, and we're going to read it together. So I want you to read this with me. So this is Luke 9, chapter 23. Then he said to all of them, he is Jesus, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit their very self? And so what I want to talk about today is there's 3 things that Jesus documents on what it looks like to follow Jesus, and it's this. He says, deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. Deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. So we're going to talk a little bit about these. So the first one is deny yourself. And so again, deny yourself isn't really something we use in everyday languages. But what this means is that we all have, as humans, we're created with these urges. And a lot of these urges, for the most part, are urges to do something that God does not necessarily want us to do, right? And that's called sin. And we all have these desires to do these things that aren't good for us and aren't in our best interest, right? And so what I want to talk about today is when Jesus is just a lifestyle for us, or not a lifestyle, when Jesus is just a label for us. This is, I've ripped it, but imagine this is what it looks like, right? I'm going to tape it back together. All right, boom. So imagine Jesus is just a label for you, which again, for me, when I was in college, that kind of semester where it was really tough, when Jesus is just a label for me, when I'm not denying myself, this is what it looks like, right? I'm just kind of down to do whatever. I'm kind of down to do whatever I feel like I want to do. And for me, what this looks like is, dude, I'm going to be totally honest with y'all, totally transparent. Is that okay? Is this a safe space? Can I be honest with y'all? I can? I love the tea. I love gossip. Like, love it. Like, you think you love it? I love it like 1,000 times more than you do. I love it when my enemies fail. I love it when people who pray on my downfall are embarrassed. Again, this is a safe space. I'm just being honest. I love it when people I don't like get what I think they deserve, right? And so, dude, when I'm not following Jesus, I will talk about you. I'll be like, man, he's a freaking idiot. He thinks he can do that? That's so embarrassing. Why would he do that? Seriously, I love the tea. Gabby will tell you. I love it. And when I'm not following Jesus, I can easily give into that urge to talk about other people behind their back, right? But see, what's cool is if I'm following Jesus, I'm going to put this right here because I ripped it. If I'm following Jesus, so imagine this is just like the coolest thing you could wear, right? Like, obviously, it's like some like 1800s robe. But imagine this is what like Jesus' style would be, right? So if Jesus is just a label to me, sure, I can wear this on and I can say, hey, I'm a Christian. But the thing about this is it can get hidden easily. You can forget it's even there. And so I could say I'm a Christian, but if you just look at the label, you're like, but dude, your life doesn't reflect that. The only thing that says Jesus about you is the label. But if Jesus is my lifestyle, right, something that's very, like, you can't ignore this. Like, come on, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, you can't ignore this, right? And so if Jesus is a lifestyle for me, you can't ignore it. And so what that looks like is if I'm denying myself and not giving into those urges, I'm not going to talk about someone behind their back. I'm not going to gossip about somebody. I'm not going to give into some other urges that I have, right? I'm not going to, whatever, like, I could talk about, like, dude, like, I could talk about partying, sex, whatever, right? And here's the thing, like, a lot of that stuff, that isn't bad, like, the action isn't bad itself. It just has a very specific use that is used for good. And if so, we give in to our urges to just use it. However, it gets dangerous, and you look at our life, and Jesus is just a label, and you can't tell it's a lifestyle for us. But when Jesus is our lifestyle, it's so clear, because our life reflects it because we deny ourselves, right? So the second thing he talks about denying, or not denying yourself, taking up your cross, right? Talks about taking up your cross. And I got caught. Wardrobe malfunction. What? All right, cool. So what taking up your cross looks like is we talked a little bit about the cross at Winter Weekend. So if you were there, remember me talking about this. But when somebody was put on the cross, we didn't specifically talk about this. It was super embarrassing. And here's why. Because when you were assigned to die on a cross, anybody could come watch, right? Anybody could come experience it. And so you could have like your worst enemy come up and watch you die, which is embarrassing, right? Think about it. It'd be like today, like instead if somebody like let's say you got in trouble at school and they made you like, they strapped you to the flagpole at school, and then everybody walking into school sees you and like sees that you cheated on that test or whatever, right? Embarrassing. Or if like you DM'd a girl and she didn't answer you back, they strap you to the flagpole and everybody laughs at you like, he got left on red, right? Think about it. Embarrassing. This is what it would have been like to kind of, not perfectly, but to die on the cross, right? So when we take up our cross, so when Jesus is just a label for us, what this means is we don't take ownership for anything, right? We don't take ownership for anything that we feel shame for, that we feel guilty for. Instead, it's their fault. Instead, it's, dude, like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to apologize for that. When Jesus is a label for us, we're not, I don't know, we don't take accountability well, things like that, right? But here's the thing. Again, I'm going to go get it. Don't make me go get it. Here I go. All right. When Jesus is a lifestyle for us, it's clear because if I hurt you, I'm going to come apologize. Even though it may be embarrassing, even though I may feel shame or guilt for it, I'm going to come apologize to you. Or maybe you take up your cross by your friends are going to go do something that for you don't want to be a part of because Jesus is a lifestyle for you, and you want your life to reflect what it looks like to follow him. But if you say no, it might be embarrassing. But if Jesus is a lifestyle for you, it's going to be like, okay, it might be embarrassing, but I'm going to trust that God has me. And so again, it's clear that you're following Jesus. So the last one, follow Jesus, right? It may sound simple, but this one is so easy to become a label, right? And again, this is for me, like, dude, there's no judgment here. Like, seriously, I don't want y'all to feel like Campbell's judging me or whatever. Like, I have been in your shoes, and sometimes Jesus has been a label for me. And what this looks like, and dude, this is so easy. It is when Jesus is just a label for you, God will close a door, and you'll go try to kick the door open, right? God will close the door, and you're like, dude, I don't care if that door is closed. I'm getting through that freaking door, right? And it could be anything. It could be maybe you don't get into a school you wanted to get into, so you try to force your way in. Maybe it's, I don't know, a friend stops being a friend with you because you're acting a certain way, and you start to try to like be like, no, it's actually your fault. You should be friends with me. And there's so many things that this could look like. And when Jesus is just a label for you, and just like I go to church Sunday nights, like that's just what I do, but your life doesn't reflect it, it's clear that we aren't actually following Jesus. But what it looks like to actually follow Jesus is, again, dude, we talk about it so much. Like, since I've been here, we talked about this so much. But it's just trusting. It's like, dude, like, things are going to happen. It's not always going to work out the way that we think it's going to work out. Like, we don't have to, like, try to bang the door open. We don't have to try to force the door open. We don't have to do anything. We're just going to trust God. And, dude, I'm just going to take a step. I'm going to take one more step forward. And wherever that leads me, God, I trust you. And I'm just going to take a step forward. And when Jesus is a lifestyle for us, it is so clear. It's not just a label that you could forget about and like, again, like most of y'all can't even read this, right? But here when I have this like really dumb looking coat on, it's clear. Like when Jesus is a lifestyle, it's so easy for people to see. And what I really want you to see is that following Jesus is a lifestyle, it's not a label. And so we aren't Christian just because we grew up in a house in the South, just because our parents are from South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, wherever, right? We aren't Christians just because we go to a Christian school. We aren't Christians just because of whatever. Like, following Jesus is a lifestyle. We follow Jesus to follow Jesus, right? That's not something we just say as our name. It's something that we do with our life, and it's clear that we follow him. And so really, man, I'm just trying to open up your tribe conversations, and I really encourage you to go in your tribes and try to have legit conversations about this because, dude, this is something like I've fallen into so much and can be so easy to get into this space where it's a label for me and not a lifestyle. And so I have two questions I kind of want to kickstart your conversations with is, what is one thing I need to deny in order to fully follow Jesus? Because here's the thing, and here's what I really want y'all to see, is do people know that you follow Jesus without looking at your Instagram bio? Do people know that you follow Jesus without looking at your TikTok bio? Is the only thing Jesus about you that you have John 3:16 in your bio, or that you say you're a Christian, or you go to FCA, you go to students, but if they looked at your life, you're no different than any of their other friends that they have at school, right? Again, dude, I have been in this position before where it's just been a label for me. It's just been Campbell's the Christian, he's not available Sunday mornings, but that's kind of it. And so seriously, what is one thing you deny in order to fully follow Jesus? For me, it was gossiping about other people, right? It was even like wanting to be liked by everybody. Like that's one I really struggled with for a while. So it can look like a lot of different things. And then secondly, what is one way I can take up my cross and sacrifice for someone else? Because here's the thing about Jesus is he was like the best person ever at loving other people. And when we follow Jesus, it is so clear that we love him because of how we love people. And so, do people feel the love of Jesus when they spend time with you? Do people like spending time with you? It's a fair question, right? If we don't have any friends, it might be a good sign that we're not actually following Jesus, because if we were clearly following Jesus, people would want to be around us, right? And so what's something we have to sacrifice in order to love others? Again, for me, talking bad about people. It can be easy for me. What is it for you? So I want you to think about these two things as we head into Tribe. And man, I really hope you have an awesome Tribe conversation. And so glad y'all are here on like a holiday weekend. I know it can be hard. But seriously, I want you to try to spend legit time in Tribe talking about these things, diving into it deeper, and being honest with each other. I'm going to pray, then we go to Tribe. Jesus, thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come to a space where we can openly talk about you. Father, thank you for creating us so uniquely that, man, you can use us to do anything. But sometimes it can be so hard for us to step into all that you have for us because we just leave you as a label and don't live a life that truly reflects you. So, Father, would you be with our conversations tonight? Would you help us be honest with our tribe and tribe leaders? Would you help us talk about the things that have been on our mind? And Jesus, would you help us fully understand your love for us and that you happily took up your cross and all that embarrassment so that we could have a relationship with you? Be with us tonight. Hope us have a great week. Be with everybody traveling and keep them safe. We love you. We can't get